Why do good people suffer the most? Why does kindness, so often praised, lead to betrayal, poverty, or humiliation? Tonight, we face a hard truth most people avoid: the shocking cost of being good. Machiavelli, the master of power, revealed this centuries ago. If you've ever wondered why goodness is punished instead of rewarded, stay with me. We are taught from childhood: be good, and life will be good to you. Parents, teachers, priests repeat it: be kind, be generous, be compassionate. But open your eyes and you'll see reality is different. The good man is rarely rewarded. He is used, drained, and betrayed. Machiavelli saw this clearly. In his time, Florence was full of plots, betrayals, and assassinations. In such a world, the purely good man was the easiest victim. Why? Because goodness is predictable. The good man forgives, he obeys, he gives without asking. His very nature becomes a cage, and the cunning exploit that cage. History proves this. The merciful king is overthrown by his ambitious general. The generous lord is robbed by his servants. The kind leader who refuses to punish betrayal is betrayed again and again until he loses his throne. Goodness without strategy is a signal that attracts parasites and opportunists. Even in daily life, this law is true. The worker who always agrees to do more is buried in endless tasks. The friend who always says yes is drained by those who never give back. The man who is too good in love is abandoned for someone who excites, someone who demands respect, someone unafraid to say no. Goodness unguarded does not earn admiration, it earns dependence. And dependence leads to exploitation. Why? Because people are not saints, they are driven by self-interest. Each person looks first to their own advantage. So when they find someone who gives without limit, they cling to him, not out of love, but out of hunger. He becomes a resource, not a human being. Machiavelli warns, do not be fooled by appearances. The flatterer praises your goodness only because it benefits him. He calculates how much more he can take, and when you have nothing left, he leaves without hesitation. This is the fate of those who rely on goodness alone. The tragedy is that the good man believes kindness will protect him. He thinks mercy will inspire mercy, honesty will bring honesty, generosity will bring generosity. But the world does not work like this. Goodness is not contagious. Self-interest is. And in a world ruled by self-interest, to be endlessly good is to make yourself a sacrifice. This is why the noble fall before the ruthless. Why history forgets the gentle and remembers the cunning. Goodness alone is powerless. Worse, it is dangerous to the one who holds it. The most dangerous belief of all is that goodness alone earns respect. Machiavelli cuts through the illusion. Goodness may win admiration in words, but fear secures obedience in action. This truth is hard to accept because it destroys the comforting lie that kindness is enough to guide the world. Yet, if you look carefully, you will see it everywhere. A ruler who is only good may be loved, but love is fragile. People love you when you give them what they want. The moment you say no, their love turns to resentment. Love shifts like the wind. Fear, however, anchors deep. Fear is not emotion, it is survival. A man may grow tired of loving you, but he will not grow tired of fearing you. Fear makes him think twice before betrayal. Look at history. Leaders who relied only on kindness, mercy, or goodwill rarely lasted long. They were overthrown, betrayed, or assassinated. But those who understood fear, the Caesars, the ruthless generals, endured. They lasted not because they were loved, but because they were respected. Respect in the language of power is built on fear. This does not mean cruelty without reason. Machiavelli never praised pointless violence. He saw fear as a tool, a shield against betrayal, the foundation of authority. A ruler does not need to be loved. He only needs to make sure he is not hated beyond reason. So here is the brutal truth. Kindness without strength is weakness. To survive in this world, goodness must walk side by side with power. Only then can kindness protect instead of destroy. The mask of goodness. A wise man can wear the mask of goodness when it serves him, but beneath that mask must lie the steel of power. Without strength, his goodness is nothing more than an empty show. This is not only true in politics, it is true in everyday life. Think about the workplace. The boss who wants to be everyone's friend, who tries to be loved, is rarely respected. His kindness is taken for weakness, his rules are ignored, and his authority fades. But the boss who enforces discipline, who leads with firmness, is obeyed, even if people do not love him. Among friends, the one who always agrees is overlooked, while the one who demands respect sets the tone. In relationships, the partner who never asserts, who never says no, is taken for granted. Respect comes not from endless giving, but from the strength to draw a line, to show that betrayal has consequences. This was Machiavelli's brilliance. He revealed what others tried to hide, that goodness appeals to ideals, but fear appeals to instincts. And instincts rule far more than ideals. People fear punishment, pain, and consequences. That fear is what keeps them in line. Love is a luxury, fear is a necessity. Yet many resist this truth. They believe that if they are good enough, if they are kind enough, the world will naturally respect them. But respect does not grow from kindness. It grows from strength, the knowledge that you cannot be moved easily, that betrayal will cost too much, that you are not someone to be trifled with. Without this foundation, goodness becomes a performance no one takes seriously. Imagine two rulers. The first is merciful and forgiving. His people praise him when convenient. But when danger comes, they abandon him, for he cannot protect them. The second ruler is strict and feared for his strength. His people may complain, but when enemies approach, they stay near him, because he can defend them. Which ruler survives? Which ruler is remembered? This is why Machiavelli taught that it is safer to be feared than loved. Not because love has no value, but because love has no permanence. Love burns bright and then fades. Fear endures like stone. The man who builds on fear is much harder to break. But here lies the greatest illusion of all, the belief that goodness by itself brings reward. Many cling to the dream that if they remain good, fate, God, or the universe will balance the scales in their favor. They are told, be honest, be kind, be pure, and life will reward you. This lie is powerful because it feeds our desire for fairness. We all want to believe our sacrifices will be noticed and our suffering redeemed. But Machiavelli looked at the world without illusions, and what he saw was chilling. The good are often crushed, the just silenced, the merciful devoured. Where is their reward? Look at Socrates, executed despite his wisdom. Look at Julius Caesar, killed by men he once forgave. Look at countless prophets, reformers, and thinkers betrayed by those they tried to uplift. If goodness always carried reward, would such men have fallen this way? The truth is clear. The world is not ruled by virtue, but by power. Yet people cling to the illusion because it comforts them. It is easier to believe that unseen justice will reward them than to face the reality that justice is often absent, bent, or corrupted. Machiavelli tore away this illusion. He knew waiting for moral reward is the fastest path to weakness. In life, you see it too. The colleague who always plays fair, who sacrifices for others, does he rise? Or is it the flatterer, the manipulator, the cunning one who secures power? The man who gives endlessly in love, does he always receive loyalty? Or is he abandoned for someone bolder, someone stronger? The world does not reward goodness. It bends to strength, strategy, and will. That is why so many good men live in disappointment. They believe recognition will come if they just endure long enough. But recognition is not given, it is taken. Reward is not delivered by fate, it is seized. Machiavelli's hidden truth is this: believing in automatic moral reward is not only naive, it is dangerous. It weakens you, disarms you, and makes you prey. But here lies the paradox. Though real goodness is rarely rewarded, the appearance of goodness often is. People admire the image of virtue even when they do not reward its substance. They praise the leader who looks merciful, even if they secretly fear the iron behind his mask. They say they value honesty, but they follow those who act with cunning. The masses want to be deceived, They want to believe in virtue even while submitting to power. That is why the wise man does not abandon goodness, but uses it. He wears it as a mask, a weapon, a shield. It disarms suspicion, wins admiration, and gathers support. But when survival is at stake, he must be ready to drop the mask and act with strength. This is the core of Machiavelli's lesson. Appearances matter more than reality. To be seen as good is often more powerful than to actually be good. People do not judge your heart. They judge the image you present. If you appear merciful, they praise you. If you appear honest, they trust you. If you appear righteous, they follow you. Whether those virtues exist in your heart is irrelevant. What matters is that they believe. The man who clings only to real virtue may lose his throne, but the man who cloaks his ambition in virtue may rule without opposition. Thus, the prince who shows mercy but punishes when necessary is loved for his mercy and feared for his strength. And it is this balance, not pure goodness, that secures lasting power, the hidden price of goodness. A man may speak of honesty, but lie when strategy demands it. Yet people will still praise him as trustworthy. Why? Because the mask of virtue protects him while his hidden will advances his power. Think of rulers, politicians, or even business leaders. Do they rise by being purely good? Number. They rise by mastering the appearance of goodness while practicing cunning in secret. They smile warmly, speak of values, and present themselves as champions of the people. But behind the mask, they calculate, maneuver, and quietly crush rivals, all while looking virtuous. Machiavelli understood that most people are shallow in judgment. They do not see deeply, they see only surfaces. They are dazzled by appearances. And so, the wise must learn to control appearances. If he fails to wear the mask, he invites suspicion. If he wears it well, his ruthlessness can remain hidden forever. For the world forgives cruelty if wrapped in the language of justice. It tolerates lies if dressed as honesty. It celebrates ambition if cloaked in service. That is why the mask is not optional. To act without it is to expose yourself too soon. To wear it skillfully is to disarm enemies before they know you are a threat. Goodness, when used as a mask, becomes the sharpest weapon of all. But it requires discipline. One must know when to wear the mask and when to remove it. To cling to it too long is fatal. To drop it too early is reckless. The art lies in balance. Appear virtuous when eyes are watching. Act ruthlessly when shadows allow. This is not hypocrisy. It is survival. In a world of predators, the dove without claws dies quickly, but the wolf in lamb's clothing feasts without resistance. Machiavelli's whisper is clear. Do not let virtue rule you. Use it as a weapon. Appearances of honesty, compassion, loyalty. They open doors, attract allies, and shield suspicion. But never confuse the mask with your true face. Forget this, and the mask becomes your prison. So, what happens when a man makes goodness his identity instead of his mask? He pays a hidden price. At first, the good man is admired. Neighbors call him generous. Friends call him loyal. Family calls him noble. But admiration is fragile. It is built not on respect, but on utility. People admire him because he serves their interests. They respect his kindness as long as it benefits them. The moment it costs them something, admiration turns to contempt. The first price is dependence. The good man depends on others to affirm him. His worth is tied to their approval. He becomes a slave to their opinion, acting not from strength but from fear of rejection. His so-called virtue becomes his leash. The second price is exploitation. Once others recognize his nature, they drain him, his time, wealth, energy, and forgiveness. They test his limits until none remain. Fearing to disappoint, he yields again and again. In trying to be good, he becomes a servant to the ruthless. He is not respected, he is consumed, and when he has nothing left to give, he is discarded. The third price is invisibility. The sacrifices of the good are quickly forgotten. History does not remember those who gave quietly. It remembers those who seized, who conquered, who demanded to be seen. Legacies are not carved from kindness, but from power. The good fade into silence while the cunning write their names in stone. But the deepest price is loss of dignity. Exploited, ignored, and betrayed, the good man begins to resent the world. He wonders why his loyalty was not enough, why his sacrifices went unrewarded. He may still wear the mask of virtue, but inside he feels hollow, humiliated, drained. For nothing is more humiliating than realizing your goodness was never respected. It was only used. This is Machiavelli's warning. To be good without power is to live in chains. To build your life only on goodness is to build it on weakness. And weakness is always punished, not just by others, but by your own conscience. The hidden price of goodness is not only losing respect from others, but losing respect for yourself. And the cost is not just personal, it is political. Rulers encourage their people to be good so they remain obedient. Families preach goodness so children remain compliant. Societies exalt goodness so the masses never resist. Goodness itself becomes a weapon of control, ensuring the powerful stay powerful and the good stay powerless. But Machiavelli does not say abandon goodness. He says transform it. Make goodness a choice, not a cage. Make it a tool, not a burden. To be blindly good is to lose freedom, dignity, and legacy. To command goodness, to use it with intelligence, is to turn weakness into strength. Goodness without power is a chain, but goodness with power becomes invincible. This is the truth few dare to accept. Carried blindly, goodness invites exploitation, earns no respect, and promises rewards that never come. It robs dignity and leaves men bitter, yet when wielded as a mask and supported by strength, goodness becomes a weapon of power. The lesson is simple. The world bows not to purity of heart, but to strength of will. Appearances shape destiny. Fear and strategy secure respect. Goodness must serve these forces, never rule them. It is not the sheep who survive history. It is the wolves who know when to wear the skin of the lamb. The real question is not whether you will be good. The question is, will your goodness be your strength or your downfall?